Hello and welcome back to the channel. Right, today's build is one that I streamed over a couple of sessions. It is the Wange Boxer. Now at 438 pieces, you would think on a 2-hour streaming session that I should be able to pretty much get that done. Unfortunately, it took me almost 2 complete sessions, so almost 4 hours to do. So you can imagine why. Anyway, usual procedure. We will do 60-second speed build. I will show you some pics, and then we'll get to the review. Let's crack on and build. Welcome back. Right, instructions for this thing. They are pretty terrible, I've got to say. I mean, very nice that they give you a piece thing at the back, but otherwise it's, and I think it comes down to, part of this comes down to the size of it, although it doesn't help that, for instance there, it says bag 3. There were 3 bags, but they're all numbered number 1. So that didn't help matters that you've got everything out and everything spread everywhere. The actual diagrams themselves are very small, and it can be very difficult sometimes to see exactly where you've got to put something. So for instance, and I have to be a little careful with this, I'll get into in a minute, these 2 panels here and this black panel are on a hinge that is on a 2x1 brick, and it gives you, it just puts it there, and gives you no clear idea where to put it, and there's a number of different bricks under there that it could go on, and the easiest one that for it to go on is not the right one, unsurprisingly. So yeah, it's quite difficult. The actual build process itself is really quite bad. Part of that is because this thing is just built of angles, therefore almost everything is on a hinge. So you've got hinges at the front, hinges here, hinges all the way to here, all the way on the side and at the back. The only safe place that you can hold this without it crumbling is like that. It's under the axle for the back wheels and at the top of I suppose the crew compartment or the troop compartment. That's the only safe place to hold this. Anywhere else and this will crumble. Now you can't really see it in here, but it's funny enough, it's very similar to the BTR4 that I did by Wange, in that it's got that sort of bathtub sort of blast sort of V shape behind the wheels, and it is very easy, because the wheels go on quite late on in the build, which is quite a good thing. It's very easy to knock one of those with your fingers and it go off inside, and then trying to get it, then you've got to dismantle the whole thing at the top to get that back in. And this happened, well, not just that, but it happened many times. This little plate here was an absolute nightmare. Not just to get in and get in the right place, but then to get it to stay there, because any sort of movement on it, and it just came out and came loose. Around the driver's position here, I mean, I've had to jank that with, I had lots of extra bricks, fortunately, and let's try and move that around so you can see it. So this does now actually look like the picture on here, where you can actually see there's glass. By following the instructions, you literally have about 1 millimetre of glass for the drivers to see out of. It's the instructions are, yeah, they're almost more of a hindrance than they are of a help. So yeah, that's what I think of those. Now, nothing was missing, there was nothing warped, and there was no discoloration in the bricks. I can't say I'm particularly wild about the camo pattern on this, but you know, it is what it is. The fitting of the bricks also is a slight issue. Because of all the hinges, you have to apply some pressure, obviously, to get the bricks in place, and that does become a problem, because this thing is just so fragile. I mean, it's got all the problems that the BTR4 had, with the exception of the wheels. The wheels do generally stay on. There is one that's a little loose, but it's not too bad. But as you're then, when you're building this, as you've got the sides on, you've got the front on, you're starting to put these outer flat panels on, and you've got to apply pressure. Well, again, the amount of times that you gently trying to squeeze these bricks in to place, and you hear that and something rattles inside it. It is an extremely frustrating build to do. Now, looking on the back of the range thing, they've got 8 models. Now, I've done 3 of them. So I've done the HIMARS, the BTR4, and now the Boxer. HIMARS I didn't find too bad. Yes, there were a few fragile bits. Some of the lights that hung off the side, where you would sort of expect them to be fragile, were fragile. But you could just take those bits off. You could leave them to the very end and put them back on, and the rest of it was pretty good. And one thing I was quite impressed was with the sort of on that HIMARS model was the rocket turntable would move, it would elevate really quite happily. It wasn't too bad. The other two, though, I mean, this cost me £7.68 for this thing, and as I say, to be fair to it, it's reasonably accurate to the actual Boxer itself, but don't put yourself through it, not even for £7.68. It's just, it's frustrating, very, very frustrating, and for the love of God, do not give this to a child. Yeah. Now, I know Xingbao do a Boxer, although it is very suspiciously similar to this, so it's entirely possible that it is the same model, but I haven't done the Xingbao one yet, so that is an alternative. I don't know the price on that. I'll pop it up there, I'll dig it out. But yeah, this, yeah, don't bother. Yeah, and unless you have an absolute burning desire for a cheap Boxer. I mean, you can't knock the price. 400 odd bricks, so that's what, it's less than 2p a brick. Yeah, pass on this one, I think, unless you, for some reason, really want this model. There you go. That's today's review. The Boxer by Wange. Not one I'd choose again. So hopefully you've liked this video. If you have, please like and subscribe to the channel. You take care, and I'll see you again. Bye bye.